Hello and welcome to LSJ Afternoon with me, James Williams.
And me, Hannah Brown. Coming up on today's programme.
A large car park will open well ahead of schedule for the new transport hub, just in time for Christmas.
And it's Alcohol Awareness Week, and a local charity have told us that they're expecting it to have a big impact on referrals.
Dial-a-Ride in Lincoln is under threat as the government are discussing implementing changes to community transport services.
And of course we'll have your latest sport and weather. All that and more coming up on LSJ Afternoon.
The first phase of Lincoln's new transport hub will be opening tomorrow. The multi-storey car park will be opened by City of Lincoln Council leader Rick Metcalf at midday. And the first customers to use the car park won't have to pay a fee. Jack Surfleet reports.
These sights may be familiar to you. It's been a year since demolition began to make way for a new transport hub for Lincoln. The new multi-storey car park was scheduled to open as part of one of the final phases of the development. However, the opening has been pulled forward, meaning visitors can look forward to using the facilities from midday tomorrow. Not a single space is free here at Tenscroft Street car park in Lincoln, the car park which visitors have been diverted to for the past 12 months. This car park adds around 10 minutes journey time for visitors who want to walk into the city centre, while standing behind it is a car park with over 1,000 new spaces, which appear to be in high demand. The new car park will boast free parking for late night shopping, over 1,000 new car parking spaces and pay on exit. And with it being open just before Christmas, you'll have plenty of space to park up and enjoy the Christmas market this year.
Well, Jack Surfleet joins us in the studio now. Why is the car park opening now instead of next year, Jack?
Well, it could be because of the Christmas market. That's one of the theories that people are coming up with at the moment. Could be in time for the Christmas lights, but I think most of all it's just because they're running ahead of schedule, and I think it's a welcome sight for people in Lincoln. Not often we get building works that are running ahead of schedule.
So you mentioned pay on exit. What exactly does this mean?
Pay on exit is a car parking method. So basically, instead of pay and display where you'd stick a ticket on your windscreen, we've all been there if we're rushing around and we have to stick a ticket on, or we forgot to put a ticket on, or even have to rush back to the car to put more time on the car. You just pay when you leave. So you drive in, it scans your number plate, you stay as long as you need to, and then when you leave, you put your number plate in on the machine, and it tells you how much you need to pay, and you go. So it just stops people from panicking, thinking, oh, I've only got like half an hour till I've got my car park ticket to renew.
And that's what more recent car parks that are built these days have, isn't it? That pay on exit.
It's easier, it's cheaper for businesses as well because it's ANPR recognition. They can just bill you. If you leave, they can find your number plate, send it straight to you. It's much easier for them, and you see it a lot more nowadays.
And there's free parking for late night shopping as well.
Absolutely, I'm taking full advantage of that, James. I don't live in Lincoln, so it's nice to be able to travel in and be able to use the car park, pay on exit, nice and easy. And like you mentioned, if I'm coming at night time, 5:30 onwards, I must tell you, it's completely free to park for late night shopping. So just in time for Christmas.
Thank you, Jack. A local charity is trying hard to combat alcoholism during this year's Alcohol Awareness Week. Ad Action in Lincoln have been putting on multiple alcohol-related events this week, and as a result are expecting to see an increase in referrals. Kieran Hymas reports.
It's Alcohol Awareness Week from the 13th until the 19th of November, and one of the participants in Lincoln are the organisation Ad Action. The organisation is one of the UK's leading and largest specialist drug, alcohol and mental health treatment charities. During the week, they have been holding recovery cafes for 2 hours a day, alcohol awareness sessions that run twice a week, releasing leaflets and information on alcoholism, and tweeting different quotes from recovering alcoholics. Following the Alcohol Awareness Week events, organisers are expecting to see more referrals.
Referrals will increase, and it's about making sure that people are aware of the services that are on offer.
Ad Action have 120 services helping people across the UK. I spoke to one person who has struggled with alcoholism for over 16 years, and thanks to Ad Action, he's now on the way to recovery. He wished to remain anonymous, and so for this purpose, we will be calling him Steve.
I think it's massively important. I'm thinking in terms of the damage that's caused by alcoholism secretly. I think there's probably a very large proportion of people in the country that have got problems with alcohol that probably aren't even aware of it. We are human beings. We can all suffer with addiction, whether it's of alcoholism or anything else, and that there are people there that can help and guide you towards that recovery that you might want. I'd lost everything. The only thing I hadn't lost was my life. I think I lost my family. I lost contact with children. I lost my house, car. My health was deteriorating. My mind was deteriorating. I was basically homeless. It's just unfortunate that, well, for me it was fortunate because it set me on the road to recovery, but it's just a shame that I didn't come to that realisation before that.
Kieran Hymas with that report. Now let's take a look at some of the other news from around the city this afternoon, and Lincolnshire Police are appealing for help in identifying this woman. Police say that she can help with their inquiries into a theft at the Co-op store on Tealby Street. If you have any information, then please ring 101 and quote incident number 142 of the 27th of October.
Lincoln residents are being invited to attend a public meeting on the proposed closure of the walk-in centre on Monks Road. The City Council's Community Scrutiny Committee will be hearing a range of views on the controversial proposal by the Lincolnshire West CCG. The meeting takes place at the Alive Church on Newland Road next Tuesday evening.
Now, children from a local school take the reins at Lincoln Castle tomorrow. The pupils from Ermine Primary School will have the chance to run the historic attraction as part of the National Kids in Museums Takeover Day. They will have a helping hand also from a best-selling children's author, Damien Dibben.
Possible changes to community transport services could mean less volunteer drivers in the local area. The government's proposed adjustments could mean that organisations such as the Lincoln Dialer Ride could struggle to maintain the service they currently provide. I went along earlier to find out more.
Lincoln Dialer Ride are a registered charity that provides accessible and affordable transport for the elderly and disabled. They have around 700 users and provide in the range of 2,700 passenger trips a month. However, the government's proposed changes to permits and licences for the volunteer drivers could mean less people helping with the service.
It basically means I'd have to give up driving because if they go for the different type of licence, I shan't bother retaking my test, I just wouldn't bother. I'd miss the job, I'd miss the people, I enjoy it, I quite enjoy it, and you get to know all your passengers, and they get to know you.
Currently, the drivers only need a Section 19 permit, which allows them to operate minibuses in a not-for-profit basis. However, under the proposed changes, the drivers may have to have a PCV driver certificate instead, which are normally held by bus and lorry drivers. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Transport Committee said, "Many people rely on community transport services to access healthcare, education, employment and leisure. We want to make sure that the socially valuable community transport services are protected in the long run." Some of the people who use Lincoln Dialer Ride on a regular basis spoke about the importance of having this local service.
We wouldn't be without it, actually. The bus station's going to be miles away. And it's going to be a drag to walk from there up into town. So I don't know. I don't know what we'd do.
We're all getting older and that, so, it's a blessing to have it taken right to her door.
It's not yet known when the inquiry will finish, so only time will tell to see exactly how these local services will be affected.
Still to come on the programme.
A local Facebook group's video about litter in Lincoln sparks a discussion across the city.
We look at how social media has propelled Lincoln into the spotlight over the last year.
And as Lincoln gets ready for the big Christmas light switch on tomorrow, we prepare for a little light turn on of our own.
You've been going on about this all day. It better be good, is all I'm saying.
Believe me, it will. Next this afternoon, a local Facebook group has published a video highlighting the litter problem in Lincoln. Although littering is a more severe problem in other places around the world, TTEG are trying to encourage local people to love where they live. Faye Tom Kotovich has the story.
The Facebook group TTEG has released this video of litter around Lincoln to highlight the problem to the residents in the city. Just walking around the streets of Lincoln, litter has been a noticeable presence, including at Brayford Pool and its surrounding areas. We asked the people of Lincoln what they think about this problem.
They shouldn't drop litter anywhere. It's disgraceful. Somebody's got to clean it up.
I think it can be a problem, especially after nights out when people, students go around. The morning after, it's always a mess on the streets.
If I see some litter, I will pick it up and put it in a bin because I hate to see it. It's such a beautiful city.
As always, it's where you see a lot of people, you have to make sure we have enough litter bins.
We got in touch with Lincoln City Council, who said the bins are emptied on a daily basis between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. and the streets are cleaned daily too. The video shared on TTEG shows the Facebook group's founder, Genevieve Fyodorov, walking the streets of Lincoln pointing out the litter. Through doing this, he says he has realised the power that social media can have on a community. In keeping with his social media presence, Jeff sent us his thoughts over Facebook.
One Saturday morning, I was walking through the city and I was a bit shocked of seeing all that amount of litter on the streets. The problem is people think that an extra tin or piece of litter won't change anything, but it really does. And that is the reason why we made this video.
TTEG is hoping that this video will have an impact on Lincoln's community. Just popping out into Lincoln this afternoon, and it's clear that there is rubbish around the city. Just here, there is a bin that's close to overflowing, and it's only early afternoon. And if we look just over here, there is litter scattered around on the ground. It seems difficult to understand why this is still a problem when it's such a simple thing to amend.
Well, what do you think about litter in Lincoln? Is this city any worse than anywhere else? Get in touch with the programme on Facebook or Twitter at LSJ Tweets. Right, now it's time to take a look at the sport. Now, have you ever wondered just how much you're likely to pay to watch your football team play this season? Well, last night BBC Sport released their 2017 Price of Football study, which compares the prices of tickets, food and other matchday items from football clubs up and down the UK. And one of the teams included in the study is, of course, Lincoln City. Our sport reporter Elliot Hawkins has been looking into how much it could cost to follow the Imps during this year's campaign and how those prices compare to some of the biggest football clubs in the country.
It's always been the case. BBC Sport's Price of Football study is packed with data on prices from football clubs across the UK, and 2017 is no different. Last year it was revealed Lincoln City had the most expensive cup of tea in the National League. But what sort of prices are on offer this time around? Well, let's start with season tickets. This is where fans of Lincoln City have seen the biggest increase from last season. The cheapest adult ticket on offer is £299. That's up £54 on last year's cheapest option. Quite a fair price, you could argue, but let's compare that to some Premier League teams. Huddersfield Town Premier League New Boys are offering fans season tickets for as little as £100, and that's a promise they made immediately after being promoted to the top flight last season. Remember, this is a side that have already beaten Manchester United at home. Then we have West Ham, who play their football in the Olympic Stadium. Hammers fans can buy season tickets for as little as £289, £10 cheaper than at Lincoln City. And perhaps the most surprising of all, Manchester City, arguably the best team in the country at the moment and possibly even Europe. Their fans could pick up season tickets for £299. And when you think of the quality of football they've been treated to this season, that's quite a bargain. One figure at Sincil Bank that hasn't changed this season is their most expensive season ticket, which remains at £335. Now compare that to Arsenal, the Imps FA Cup quarter-final opponents last season, and Lincoln City fans will think they've got themselves a good deal. Arsenal supporters can pay up to almost £1,800 for their season tickets. Now, how about a pie? Everybody loves a pie at the football. If you're a Lincoln City fan, you can expect to pay just over £3. However, travel down to Chelsea, last season's Premier League champions, and you can pick up a pie for £2.50. Now the cup of tea. They had the most expensive cup of tea in the National League last season, and although that's not the case in League Two, there are still cheaper alternatives in England's top division. Back to the home of the champions, and you can buy a cup of tea for £1.29, a respectable price, but travel 8.5 miles across London to Selhurst Park and you won't have to spend more than £1. Lastly, let's take a look at the price of a child replica shirt. Kids at Lincoln City can pick one up for £35, and in this day and age that's a fairly reasonable price. But let's go back to the Premier League and Crystal Palace. Fans can buy a junior replica top for a penny less. And if you travel up north to Burnley, you'll only have to spend £32, the cheapest price for a child's shirt in the Premier League. So when you take into account season tickets, food, drink and don't forget match programmes, Lincoln City fans can expect to pay almost £500 to watch their team this season. And that's just at Sincil Bank.
And Elliot joins us in the studio now. It's interesting seeing how all these prices compare, and of course they're for adults. What about young people and how much they pay to go to football?
It's really interesting. The main finding actually from this study was that young people are being put off going to these football matches because they're having to pay too much money. BBC surveyed 1,000 people between 18 and 24 years of age, and they found that 82% of those people said that the cost of tickets is actually an obstacle to them going to more games. So you can see that it is a major impact for more people.
That's quite a remarkable statistic, Elliot. 82%.
Yeah, so four-fifths of these people aren't going to as many football games as they'd like because the tickets are too expensive. So it is obviously a major issue. The top 4 leagues in the country, 92% of those clubs do say they've got a separate price range in place for young people. So it shows that something is being done to get more people going to these games.
And just on Lincoln City, they host Coventry on Saturday. Is that a big game for them?
It's a very big game. Coventry, they've only won one of their last 6, so they're not in a great run of form, but they are still 6th in the table. They're 2 places above Lincoln. So Lincoln will respect Coventry, but they'll know that they need to be at their very best to win. And they were at their best last weekend when they beat Crewe 4-1. Very, very impressive display. And it's just about taking that form into the next game.
And of course it's a sellout at Sincil Bank on Saturday. A big crowd expected.
It is, as it usually is at Sincil Bank. So those crowd are really going to get behind Lincoln, and it's a really important game, as I said.
And what about Lincoln United? Another defeat for them last weekend. Has the manager Sam Wilkinson got long?
I'm not sure. You know, since that 9-0 defeat at the end of last month, they've won 1 and they've lost 2 of their games. So the form still hasn't improved to a great extent. They've got 3 difficult games coming up, including Bedworth away from home this weekend. I think anything other than a win, and he could be out of a job.
Right, Elliot, thank you very much for joining us. Now, this time last week, we had our fingers crossed that Lincoln Cathedral would win their semi-final in the Twitter Cathedral World Cup. Seems bizarre to even be talking about it. A week on, and they've won the whole thing. Lincoln Cathedral are the Cathedral World Cup champions. It's just another example of how social media has helped the city make national headlines, as I've been finding out.
Your cathedral needs you. Lincoln Cathedral, please vote for us.
It was a social media battle which captured the imagination of people across the country. The Cathedral World Cup saw cathedrals go to war on Twitter in a bid to be crowned the best cathedral in the country. And in a tense final, Lincoln were declared as the winners and the Cathedral World Cup champions.
For us, this really just shows that the cathedral can be relevant. It's a place for the community. The community came out and voted for us. And so it's really nice for us to see. Social media and the church, like, people don't necessarily think of them going well together, but we've proven that they can. We've proven that people really care about their cathedrals, and I think it's really important that we do stuff like this.
This competition wasn't just about the cathedrals though. The social media campaigns promoting them needed to be just as good. But how do you design a winning social media campaign?
You've got to compete and be creative. It's all well and good you putting an advert out there, but if it doesn't, talk to your end user, it's not going to work.
A lot of what we did was kind of reactive and really was just bouncing off what people were commenting, just starting that conversation and keeping it going. But also we had a lot of tweets that were already planned, just so that we can really show off the building for what it was, show some really beautiful images that we had taken professionally.
This isn't the first time a social media campaign has played a part in success in Lincoln. Earlier this year, the hashtag #Invasion trended nationally on Twitter on numerous occasions and became a massive part of Lincoln City's amazing season when they won promotion and reached the quarter-finals of the FA Cup.
I mean, the social media side of it is so vitally important to not only the football club but the city in general. I mean, after Birmingham, I know that the Visit Lincoln website, it went mad, and of course linking into that would be social media and would be invasion. So it's like invasion leads you to looking at other things.
The campaign that Lincoln City did was incredible because it was just simple and people can resonate with it, and don't overcomplicate things, because when it comes to marketing, while it is quite a bad thing to do, stereotyping and assuming that customers are not the brightest in the bunch is the best thing to do in terms of marketing, because you've got to make it as easy as possible for them to buy from you. So you make it simple, it's going to convert.
It's that sense of belonging, isn't it? It's imp-vasion. You know, nobody else can use invasion because A, we've used it, and B, we're the only imp. So it's that's the one thing you can, on your little phone, you put in hashtag invasion, and that's our identifier, if you like. So I think a lot of people brought into that.
So are we likely to see more success on the scale we've seen in the past year for Lincoln in the future?
Yeah, I don't think it will happen again, unless we go global next year. Who knows?
Who knows at the end of the season, you know, maybe we might make a playoff final, which obviously takes us to Wembley, and then there's some sort of derivative, I'm sure, in Wembley invasion or something like that. And it'll all start again, and again, what that will do as well is it'll bring back all those memories, and people will go, oh yeah, I remember invasion. That was a great time. Let's do it again.
Quite remarkable to see the impact social media has had on the city in the last year. Now it's time to cross for the weather forecast with Kieran Hymas.
Thanks for that, James. I'm here to give you your weather, and today has been a little bit of a dry and mild day, as you'd expect at this time of year. It's looking like there's going to be highs of 10 degrees for the rest of the day, as towards the evening it's going to drop as low as 4. There'll be some light winds, up to about 25 miles an hour, which will drop a little bit further into the evening. Tomorrow we'll see a slightly milder day with a little bit more cloud in the sky. The highest temperature will be about 7 degrees, which will fall to 5 by the end of the evening, and you can expect a little bit of sun between 8 and 9. There'll be slightly milder winds that will grow from up to about 21 miles an hour throughout the evening. Therefore, it may be a little bit windy for your Christmas lights switch on, but you won't need an umbrella. So at the end of the day, every cloud's silver lining.
Thank you, Kieran. Well, it's almost that time for us to end, but a full 24 hours before the Lincoln Christmas lights switch on, it's time to reveal the LSJ Christmas decorations. James, it's your time. Please do the honours.
With pleasure. I've been working all afternoon on this beauty, the LSJ Christmas tree.
It's a tree.
It beats any Christmas light switch on, in my opinion. Just look at it. Look at the tinsel, the baubles. It took hours to decorate this afternoon. I mean, for me anyway. I put good care and effort into designing my Christmas trees. And if you think about it, it beats any Christmas light switch on, in my opinion, as well. Because tomorrow, you know, there's going to be crowds of people on the high street. It's not going to be that enjoyable. Whereas this, decorating this beauty, I had a great time.
I'm glad you had fun.
She's not impressed. That's all we've got time for on LSJ Afternoon this week. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back again this time next week. Bye for now.